Hi, Marianne Arcan from the Central Ontario Logging Association, and my question is actually for Carrie. We need lumber cars, and I know that's been an issue in the news and stuff lately. With all your expansion plans, are you guys looking at actually getting more rolling stock?
You know, actually, in September we announced that we are in the process of we have put out bids to acquire 2,200 new rail cars. Actually, it's various rail cars, but yes, we are acquiring new fleet. Yeah, to meet the growing business.
Actually, oh, sorry. Oh, great, super. I thought I was going to have to come up with a question there.
So I represent quite a few of the agriculture sector folks, and we have a really tough time figuring out just how they can fit into some of these projects, especially the ones that are really happening in rural and remote BC. And so I thought I'd just throw the question back to you. How do you see the agriculture community being able to tie into the economic benefit of your projects?
Want to try to tackle that one? I guess what I would be looking for is there better benefits in your capabilities that would fit what the needs of these folks would have. Any glean of ideas in that regard?
Well, I can speak to the major sectors in this area, and most of it's ranching, livestock, and hay production. So most of it's targeted at food service. So for us, it's how can we access your food service, and what kind of commitment do you have to contracting suppliers in the local community as it relates to your food service? For most of it, it would just be figuring out who your subcontractor is and how we can work with them. So.
Yeah, well, I guess I'll speak to that. We do have a camp at our operation, and so it would have to go through, obviously food supply goes through our catering contractor. We use a company called Sodexo, and at that spot, we have a camp at Huckleberry as well, and that's a different contractor. So it would have to be engaging in their supply chain, because they've obviously got their own departments that look after that. So it's a spin-off of our operation, but again, it goes into their network. And so I don't have a straight answer for you, but I can put you in contact with them if you'd like.
And if I may interject, I do know that, for example, Al Ridgway with the Prince George Airport Authority is looking at backhauling. Yeah, great, you're on the committee. Okay, so are there any more questions for the panel? There we go, way at the end, you're gonna make me run.
We want a question from this side next, okay, folks?
IPG, we move with the times.
Hi, Roy Nagel, Central Ontario Logging Association. A little bit of provincial economic nationalism, if you like, and a question to all the panelists. Your projects and activities are in British Columbia. Do British Columbia suppliers and contractors get first crack at the work?
Okay, I'll have first crack at the answer. Speaking from BC Hydro as a public sector organisation, we have to comply with TILMA, which is a trade agreement. So the way that we approach this is through our procurement objectives, and one of which is to increase opportunities for regional businesses. And so the way we're looking at that is saying what competitive advantages do regional businesses have that are going to enable them to be part of this, and how can we facilitate that? And so part of that is coming here tonight and having the business directory and looking at how we can make sure that the opportunities of some opportunities are sized to the market, and also that people can partner up to compete.
I'm going to interject a question here at this point. Typically, I think if I put myself in the room here and say I was a construction company that had experience, and I'll just pick site prep. And I heard, for example, with Elizabeth, that site prep is an important component, and others have site prep kind of stuff, so that's a common one through the themes. If I don't have any expertise in site prep for hydro, is there specific knowledge that I shouldn't bother bidding, or is that something that I can cross sectors? In other words, I think many businesses go, well, geez, I don't have experience directly doing this for hydro, so I'm probably not able to bid. Or is that true in terms of expertise?
I mean, So site preparation would not be specific to a particular sector. It would be dependent on we'd have various specifications for, how to what quality the site needs to be prepared for. So it wouldn't be specific to that sector. Something like transmission line foundation may be more specific to the actual transmission line, but
In other words, there's opportunities. Don't just think it's out of my sector, I maybe not be able to do the work. That's something to be checking out as you're going through this process. I just want to make that point.
Yeah,
Would
no,
you
it's a
agree,
good
panelists? It's not necessarily expertise in your particular field, right?
No, but from a FortisBC perspective, when we built the LNG plant in Mount Hayes, we were very keen and we did engage the Aboriginal community and we did utilize a lot of local resources there. So for FortisBC, it's actually a project specific, whether it's a regional decision or not.
And for us at Imperial Metals, I mean, if we could find all our staff locally, we could get rid of our camp. We would love that.
I know that one of the things that local and regional firms talk about a lot, especially when they're the major projects, is the right sizing of the bids. So that you have a very large project that you're accomplishing on one of your sites. Do you have policies or objectives in place to sort of put those big projects out in smaller bundles so that local and regional businesses have a chance to compete?
That's actually a good comment, and that's something that if you saw in my slideshow there, that we try to package ours up so it is in bites, if you want to put it that way. We could easily have just said, well, we're going to go to one large general contractor and they can run it all for us, but we try to self-perform as much as we can, and we're hands-on, so we really package them out in the right size so we can find some local contractors. It's beneficial to us and it's beneficial to the local contractors for sure.
Every one of the projects I've ever won as a consultant or any of the companies has never been the lowest price. Never. Because I've always got embedded better benefits in my pitch that hopefully gets me the work. So what I'd like to hear from the panelists is what takes you out of the lowest price? Can you share a story of a supplier that maybe won on the green or safety or performance or quality standards with a better benefit that worked for you? That took it out of, well, let's not take the lowest price, let's choose this one. And I'd like to hear if you have any stories that you could share about that.
Sure. So I think very few, if any, of our contracts are simply lowest price. I think probably I can speak for all of us in saying we're all interested in quality, safety, schedule. So another element is of local regional businesses benefit is the knowledge of the area has a big impact on whether you can deliver on the price and the schedule that you've put forward. And so we achieve that through either the request for qualification stage or by assessing not just based on price but those other factors. So,
anyone else want to share that one?
Well, FortisBC, we awarded a courier contract in the local Vancouver area, and one of the key components for us actually was that they had a green vehicle. So price wasn't the lowest factor, it was their ability to meet our ability to help the environment, and even that vehicle was actually, I believe, an LNG vehicle.
Excellent.
So, yeah.
I was wondering if I could ask you a quick question. Sorry to interrupt. We've got about a minute left here before I think we got to move on. But very quickly, I guess this is a question more for Dennis, and this is a question I hear a lot from our local service and suppliers, which is we all have an understanding that many of the contracts are awarded on a relationship basis. So the question is, how do I get, if I have not had a contract with you before, how would I get to do that in the future? How do I meet you, Dennis? How do I talk to you about my better benefit dream, for example?
How we usually approach it is basically it's just a simple phone call to me. So either myself or anyone of the team. So again, we've got some experienced construction managers on, and what we do, it's not one person's decision. And when I say relationships, is, you know, you build the relationships and trust, obviously. And so when we award contracts, I mean, when anyone awards contracts, it's the risk that we take as well. You know, will that job be done, and will it be done on time? Is it going to be on budget? And you know, we all have skin in the game, if you want to put it that way. But just to answer your question, though, I mean, there's no simple way. Usually, what I ask for when I get contacted is if I could get a profile on the company, what some of the past projects were. We usually invite people in so we could have a discussion and meet face to face, obviously. Then we see if there's a fit anywhere, and basically to go back to, you know, how we write scopes of work, of specific work. Sometimes we change our minds on how we do things based on that, based on the contractors that are in our area. And we're a relatively small company. We don't go out and do, you know, single contract job sites, because it's just, one, you lose control of your site, and two, it's a cash cow. So we think it's more cost advantageous to sort of parcel them out into smaller packages, which means more construction management on our side, but that's where our skill sets are.
Typically, that means communication. Intercommunication for scheduling is one of the big, better benefit factors. Huge, right? And increasingly in today's times, that ability, mobility is a big part. Okay, well, thank you, folks. Thank you, panelists. Very good job.